Yo, what's happening, man? Boss Golf, back at you guys with another update video about some leaks that have just, some more leaks that have just been presented to us today about Soul Calibur 6, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Dragon Ball FighterZ, and BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. But today we're going to talk about Soul Calibur 6, Infinite, and FighterZ. And this is on the Shoryuken Fourm post website. I will post the link in the description box down below so y'all can check this out with me, because I want to read y'all this leak. I want to read along with y'all about this leak and the stuff that's been presented in here, because some of this shit troubles me. But we're gonna read along together. I'm gonna skip over some parts and then I'm gonna give you my opinions about this, because I want y'all to check this shit out. So, like I said, it was on the Shoryuken website, and it was talking about information for leaks for Soul Calibur 6, Infinite, and Dragon Ball FighterZ. And the thing about this leak is the leaks were given from a Reddit poster named Vergabin. I hope I'm saying that right. If not, it's the internet. Vergabin, who gave information about Soul Calibur 6 a month before Bandai Namco actually officially announced the game. So you can say that this is a somewhat of a credible source. But with that being said, with this leak list, like all the leak lists that I post on this channel and everything, I always tell you guys, take all of this information with a grain of salt and everything, and it is to be noted that my opinions are my opinions. I don't state any of this shit as truth, because all of this can change without a moment's notice. So let's read through this shit. So they're talking about Marvel vs. Capcom, Soul Calibur, and FighterZ. They're talking about BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, but I'm not interested in that game, so I will skip over information about that. So I'm gonna read this to y'all, and then I'm gonna give y'all my opinion. So the leaks detail the possibility of a Nintendo Switch port. Specifically, the fact that it seems that it's not happening at this time. Prior to this, there was some rumbling about the possibility of one with some guest characters as well. So it's talking about the possibility of a Switch port with some guest characters for the Switch specifically, hinting at Link and a Fire Emblem character. However, the Reddit poster states that their source has stated that it is likely it won't be happening for a long time. Moving on, it says that some more information that was revealed about the development, including that the game wasn't originally slated to be a reboot, but something happened at Project Soul. We'll talk about this, and that's what caused it all to change. That being said, the status of the game set as going back to the series past. Characters that are supposed to be appearing in it are Kilik, Zhanghua, Maxi, who apparently is now unambiguously presented as homosexual. I don't know why it had any importance. Siegfried, Nightmare, Taki, Talon, Ivy, Cassandra, Astaroth, and Tira. Zaxel is to be considered to be a character in the game, but he may end up being DLC. Amy might appear in all future installments as Viola. So earlier I read that wrong. So Amy, I'm thinking a lot. Excuse me. Amy might appear in all future installments as Viola, confirming a long-held fan theory. I didn't even know that was a fan theory, that she was Viola. Finally, the character teased at the end of the reveal trailer is supposed to be a male character. Some have speculated it to be a female, an assassin, Kilik's rival. Moving on to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. The big leak is that despite the Fox buyout by Disney, Season 2 will not contain any X-Men or Fantastic Four characters. Of course this makes sense, because the buyout happened recently, and of course with everything, DLC was probably already in development before the buyout. Instead, Season 2 characters for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite will be Star-Lord, Miss Marvel, Ashura from Ashura's Wrath, Lady, from Devil May Cry 3 and Gil from Street Fighter 3 series, with the final slot being a toss-up between Rashid or Virgil. More important is about the future past Season 2. As I said, right now the game is kind of in a flux. What will happen after Season 2 is up in the air. The two options are to either end support for the game or continue on with it. If the latter happens, then it's likely that we'll see more characters and a possible Capcom Pro Tour style deal for it. Kind of like how you'd see with Street Fighter 5. That's my take on that. Moving on to Dragon Ball FighterZ. This is where I'm most interested. I guess not most. I'm interested in all three, but this is the part that troubles me, and I'll comment after I read this. Vergeman states that DLC characters that he's been informed about are Broly, Base Form Goku, Base Form Vegeta, and Bardock. They've also have a source stating that Raditz and Zarbon are in, though they consider this source an outlier, since those are the only two characters the source knows about. As for why we're getting another Goku and Vegeta, pay attention to this shit. The reason is apparently because of demand from the Japanese fanbase, especially with how good those characters were supposedly were in Dragon Ball Z Extreme Budokan on the 3DS. On top of this, there are still hidden playable characters that have yet to be revealed, the least of which is Android 21, who so far has only been advertised as an NPC. Android 21 apparently has an ultimate form, though it's unknown if this is an install type super or a new character outright. So we don't know if this character is going to have a transformation like Frieza with Golden Frieza and Gohan with his ultimate form, or this will be a separate character slot. And then it goes on to talk about BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, and if you're honestly interested in that game, you guys can read over this with the link in the description box down below. And then even in the even in the Sure You Can Post, they post Vergeman's original Reddit post, so they have the source in there. I want to talk about this because this whole thing, more than half of this troubles me. 2/3 of this troubles me. Let's talk about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, because I think that's the most positive thing I have to say about this list. First, talking about the DLC characters about this, which are Star-Lord, Ms. Marvel, Ashura, Lady, and Gil, with the final slot being somewhere between Rashid and Virgil. I think this DLC list is pretty cool, considering, for one reason, is the Season 1 DLC characters had more Marvel characters than Capcom characters. Now we're getting a shit ton more Capcom characters than Marvel characters. 4 Capcom and then 2 Marvel. Which I'm honestly, I am hella confused. I will say, it might be because of my ignorance towards the Marvel comic universe, but I'm hella confused at how they're putting Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel on the same roster. I don't know how those characters are related, but just the fact that they almost pretty much got the same name kind of is like that with me. But other than that, it's pretty cool. Ashura, a lot of people has been talking about. I personally wanted to see him in the series. A lot of other people wanted to see him in the series. We're getting another Devil May Cry character. A lot of people like Lady as a character. I thought she was pretty badass in the Devil May Cry 3 game. And then Gil is another one that was talked about. And then Rashid would be pretty cool over Virgil, considering it's a new character. And he does have a lot of, when you think about him and his moveset in Street Fighter 5, he has a lot of like combo potential for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, considering Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is a combo-based game. So overall, I think this is pretty cool. It makes sense that X-Men characters and Fantastic Four characters won't show up because, like the post said, and like a lot of you guys out there probably already know, when stuff goes into development, they're not just going to change their plan just like that and throw it. They could, but it's unlikely. If they decide to do Season 3, I can bet that if there's a Season 3 for Marvel vs. Capcom, we'll see return of X-Men characters and Fantastic Four characters. Probably some favorites, and then probably some new ones as well that we haven't seen throughout the series. So that's pretty cool. That's okay. Moving on to my opinions about Soul Calibur 6. I'm all over the place with the numbering. As far as the characters that the post said was confirmed from the sources, this confirms what I was talking about in the previous video. I know some people were saying that they didn't get where I was going, or was kind of confusing. Basically, overall, in my last video, I was talking about the characters that I thought were going to be in the game. I was basically saying characters from Soul Calibur 1 all the way up to 3, the main characters that were in those rosters and characters that were introduced in those games, will be making a returning appearance inside of Soul Calibur 6, which is pretty cool. The thing I find to be a little questionable, and the thing I find kind of like is Zasalamel as DLC. And I find that weird, because Zasalamel, along with Amy, Tira, and some other characters, especially if they put Setsuka in, was characters that were in Soul Calibur 3, that were introduced in Soul Calibur 3. To have Zasalamel be considered, and then let alone like considered for a DLC, I think it's kind of crap. I think it's shit, because he's a main character roster. I don't see why you would have a main character roster, or excuse me, main roster character for DLC over guest characters. Especially if, now I don't know anything about this, but especially if they put guest characters in the game as either unlockables or as, hey, fuck it, here you go, over Zasalamel, that's gonna be bullshit. And I say that because that's one of the characters that I really wanted to come back in the Soul Calibur series. He's one of the most unique characters in the game. His original fighting style, a different, unique weapon. I thought he was pretty fucking cool. A lot of people argue, oh, he was the only black character in the game. I didn't give a shit about that. I just thought he looked cool, he played cool, he was a fucking badass. So to have him like just considered and then even considered for a DLC is like, okay, what are you guys really doing? I don't understand the thing behind that, especially over somebody like Amy as Viola. If that be true, I don't know how I feel about that, because while Viola was a unique character in Soul Calibur 6, Soul Calibur 5, to have her in not only over other Soul Calibur 5 characters, mainly Sophidia's children. I don't know why you wouldn't want them in the game, especially if you're like trying to relive past and connect it to the future. And then have her over Zasalamel as one of the main roster characters is a little bit off to me. But this is the part of the list, of course, for all you that really like know my fucking video game interests and just anime interests in general, that kind of ticks me off. When they're talking about the Dragon Ball FighterZ list, the DLC that he, and this is what I wanted to avoid talking about in previous videos, but it looks like the more information we hear about that, the more it serves to be true. DLC, Broly and Bardock. Broly and Bardock to me were a given. I always sat and thought to myself, okay, this game is coming out. We live in, for some unforsaken fucking reason, in the age of DLC and loot boxes. Broly and Bardock as DLC was a given. I already knew that. I knew something in me was like, they're gonna be DLC. That's cool, whatever. But other DLC characters, base form Goku and base form Vegeta. Mind you, throughout all of the Dragon Ball Z games, though it's bullshit, it is true that we've seen we always see multiple versions of Goku and Vegeta. For some reason, even in all anime games across, more specifically with Naruto and Dragon Ball Z, for some reason we always get multiple versions of the same character instead of putting that character in the same slot as like a transformation or as a costume. And this was the choice. And then even Raditz and Zarbon as DLC. Raditz and Zarbon as DLC, that's fucking questionable. Because it's like, if those characters, because it even states there are still some characters that have yet to be revealed, like hidden playable characters or unlockables and shit like that. And I even said, I thought, okay, there might be unlockables in the game. These characters would be acceptable as unlockables, but Raditz and Zarbon as DLC, even worse, Base form Goku, base form Vegeta. Just Goku in his regular ass form and Vegeta in his regular ass form as fucking DLC. I want y'all to think about that. If this shit is true, they would have you pay money, $5 to probably about $7, considering that's how much DLC characters are going for now, if they're not in the season pass, for a regular ass character. Think about, like, you really have to think about this shit. That'd be like Capcom going to Street Fighter 5 or some shit like that and putting in Evil Ryu or Evil Ken, or even though Evil Ken's not a thing, it's a mutant thing. But if they put in like Evil Ryu, Evil Ken, Shin Akuma, and then had Shin Akuma, Ken, and Ryu as regular DLC characters for you to download on your fucking system. If you're not an anime fan, if you're not a Dragon Ball Z fan, or if you're just somebody that just throws fucking money at these companies, that's not gonna bother you. But it's bullshit. And then the reason for doing that is because of the demand from the Japanese fan base. And you know what intrigued me? This was the same fucking excuse that CyberConnect 2 and Bandai Namco used, saying when they put the characters inside of Naruto, Ultimate Ninja Storm 3, Revolution, and 4, as to why they did it. Like Kushina and Aruka Sensei and all other obscure characters that, still in my opinion, I feel like those characters are not as popular as other characters in the series. You're really gonna sit here and tell not only me, but other fans across this goddamn platform, in the FGC community and the anime community, that the most requested characters out of the entirety of the Dragon Ball series, from Dragon Ball all the way to Dragon Ball GT, because this game it's not specifically for Super or anything like or Z. It's throwing in characters from all the different all the different sagas and time skips and shit like that, whatever you call it, from the anime. You're really gonna sit here and tell me I don't fucking care what numbers they make up. I don't fucking care what you say. You cannot sit here and fucking tell me that out of all the characters in GT, over fusions, over other villains, Super is real popular right now, over other Super characters, that the most requested DLC for Dragon Ball FighterZ was base form Goku and regular ass Vegeta. And if you need another comparison, once again, because this is the strongest fucking comparison, I just thought of this shit right now. That's like having Evil Ryu, Shin Akuma, and like if they threw an Evil Dan or Evil Ken in Street Fighter 5 in like a future DLC, and then if they didn't have Ryu or anything in the game, if for some reason they took him out, and then going back and placing Ryu, the base form of those characters, as DLC for you to pay for and for you to fucking download. I'm calling straight fucking bullshit. I don't care what this says. I don't care what the post says. I don't care what they say the numbers say. That makes no goddamn sense. And if that is true, that they said, because of how good those characters were doing in the 3DS game, I guarantee you that shit was reworded as, people like Goku and Vegeta in Dragon Ball Z games. Those are the most played, those are the most requested characters in Dragon Ball Z games, given their popularity alone. Let's have multiple versions of these characters and split them into different forms and then deliver them to the people, instead of just having base form Goku turn into Super Saiyan Goku, then Super Saiyan Blue, then Super Saiyan 3. That makes no fucking sense. And I sit here and I think to myself, when I look at these lists and I look at all these things, it's like, y'all are real. If this is true, once again, this shit can either be false or this shit can change at any fucking time. But if this is true, if Bandai Namco decides to go through with these, because these choices, because I do believe out of all these on here, the only game that isn't Bandai Namco specific is Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And right now, like, the shit that Infinite is doing is making more sense than what Bandai Namco is doing. And that's a lot to say, considering Infinite's past and the shit that we've been getting from Infinite. But I want y'all to realize how much bullshit that's gonna be. That makes absolutely no fucking sense. I seen a leak about this at least a month or two ago, and I denied the shit. I was like, this can't be true. When I read it, I was like, this has to be straight bullshit. It has to be bullshit because that makes no fucking sense. But this is the second fucking time I've seen this. This is the first time I do believe this is the first time I've seen something about Broly and Bardock. I could be wrong. I might have read it on the previous post. But having Zasalamel as DLC versus having him in as a regular character, then having DLC for base form Goku and base form Vegeta, that makes no sense. They're literally either like doing this shit for children who will ask their parents to buy them this shit, and the parents who spoil their kids with this shit, or they're doing this for the people who they know will throw money at their game and their product regardless of the bullshit that they do. The super double X triple deluxe fanboys. That's what I'm fucking calling them. Because who in their right mind, even not knowing anything about Dragon Ball Z, even not knowing anything about any of these, who in their right mind, if you like, as a video game consumer, would want to consume this shit? I'm gonna say because of the fact that I'm still resisting this shit, because of the fact that the DLC hasn't even been announced yet, we don't know shit about it, that there's a huge possibility that this is bullshit. But once again, this is the second time I've seen this shit, and this is the second time somebody's come out as a credible source and has said, this is what's happening, this is what I keep getting told, and it keeps getting back to the public. That fucking worries me for this game. That fucking worries me for the future of this game. Hell, even the fact if Raditz and Zarbon as DLC worries me, and that worries me especially because of the fact that I'm a Dragon Ball Z fan. Have those two characters over other fucking movie characters in the game as DLC? You know how many other characters across the span of this universe alone? And yes, most of this will probably be about Z. Zasalamel, the thing about Zasalamel and Soul Calibur 6 is bullshit, but the most bullshit is coming from Dragon Ball FighterZ. Out of all the characters, you have Cooler, you have Meta Cooler, you have Super Gogeta, you have Vegeta, who was in the main series, you have all these other villains, famous, popular villains in there. Janimba, I'm trying to think, Tapion from Wrath of the Dragon, Pycon from the main fucking series, and that's just Z alone. Like, I don't watch Super, once again, but I'm pretty sure there are other characters that I don't believe that shit. I don't believe that all of the Japanese fan base just wanted the base forms of the forms you already have in the game that you have to fucking pay for. Who is making these business decisions? Who is doing this shit? First we got loot boxes, we got EA sucking dick, then we got this shit. It's like we're seeing the worst. Once again, if this is true, we're seeing the worst of the worst when it comes to the practices that these businesses do. And then some people sit there and argue, oh, well, they've been doing this for years, this is nothing new. That is fucking true. I get that. I've been understood that since I've been playing games, since I've been reviewing games, these type of practices have not been new. They're coming to the surface. People are being revealed who the fuck they really are, but that doesn't make this shit okay. That doesn't make shit like this passable. That doesn't mean you can like sit here and actually expect people to sit there and be like, Super Saiyan Goku, Super Vegeta, Super Saiyan Blue Goku, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. Oh shit. Think about that shit to yourself. Are you really gonna sit there and be like, oh shit, base form Goku, base form Vegeta? Let me download these motherfuckers. Even if for some reason base form Goku and base form Vegeta transformed into, maybe Goku went Ultra Instinct or whatever the fuck is in Super. Maybe Vegeta turned into Super Saiyan, they gave him like a Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta from Raging Blast 2, or they turned him into Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. It would still be cock. It would. I told y'all, I've been trying to. How long have I been ranting? I'm about to end this shit because this has gone on for too fucking long. But I want to express my opinions about this. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite right now, I'll say my thoughts and I'll get off this thing. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite right now is doing the best when it comes to this list as far as what they plan on doing. And they have no choice at this point. Marvel vs. Capcom has done fucking horrible with numbers, with like press and packaging and all that shit when this game initially released. And now it looks like they're really trying to make up for this shit, even though all this should have been done when the game came out, before all this shit should have been thought about. It looks like they're actually trying to fucking improve. They shouldn't have to have waited till DLC comes out to have their characters look the best, but they're doing better than Soul Calibur 5 right now, in my opinion, because of that one reason. And this is a small amount of stuff for characters in Soul Calibur 5, but Soul Calibur 5 isn't doing worse than Dragon Ball FighterZ. Broly and Bardock was a fucking given. Base form Goku and base form Vegeta, and in Raditz and Zarbon as DLC. That makes when I sit here and think about that makes me think that y'all are advertising this shit to either pure children, people who don't like give a fuck about money and just like, oh, I'm gonna buy it regardless. Fuck it, I don't give a shit. Or people who are not well versed in the knowledge of Dragon Ball. They don't know shit about Dragon Ball, so they see these other characters and they're like, oh, they're DLC characters, they must be good, I'm gonna buy them. I don't give a fuck how well I don't give a fuck how well Dragon Ball FighterZ is as a game. I don't give a fuck how well Arc System makes characters look the prettiest. You can't make a character, there's not an amount of fucking pretty that can cover up the fact that y'all are releasing bullshit characters as DLC. If all of this is true, if this leak list is true, which is looking to be true, because like I said, this is the second time I've seen this shit, and I honestly don't know. I'm gonna post the link in the description box down below. Let me know what you guys think about this shit in the comment box about all the 3 games, Soul Calibur 5, and the characters that were going to be announced. That was weird. I don't know why they I'm assuming that was a fan speculation, considering they pointed it out, but I don't know why they had to point out that Maxi is now homosexual. That's probably for attention. That's probably for attention to pull in a certain audience. But let me know what you guys think about the Soul Calibur 6 characters, the Marvel vs. Infinite characters, which, like I said, I think are pretty interesting. And then Dragon Ball Fighter characters for the people who are biting fighters, and then for Dragon Ball fans in general. Like, what are your honest opinions about this shit? About them releasing base characters in a game where base characters should be a thing. That's not cool. That's not cool. That's borderline of what all these companies are doing. Borderline shit. They're trying to see how much we'll take, what we'll buy, and what we'll accept as gamers. And the thing is, they will continue to do it for as long as we allow. Some people sit there and say all these rants and shit, and all these people talking about these companies or talking about shit that EA has done or other companies like EA has done is insignificant and irrelevant and blah 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 blah. If the shit really was insignificant, if it really didn't matter, EA would have not removed the loot boxes from the game. Though it definitely is bullshit that they still plan on putting them back, they wouldn't have initially removed them and tried to revamp them if that shit didn't matter. So there's one thing y'all need to remember when it comes to this shit, is that shit matters. That's why I talk about it. So we can get talking, and then like, so people can actually sit and think like, are they really fucking doing that? If Ryu and Ken weren't in a Street Fighter game and they only threw in evil Ryu or evil Shin Akuma, and then they put in their base forms, would I really pay money for that? Would you really do some shit like that? Especially if you can get it on a PC release and just mod the fuck out of the game? Yeah, I don't think so. At least not for me. So that's me and my opinion. I'm out of this bitch. Let me know what you guys think about this shit in the comment box down below. Y'all already know what it is, man. Boss Golf talking about some leaks for FighterZ, Infinite, and Soul Calibur 6. Keep them schlongs long and clits tight. I will see you to the hoes on the flip one. Peace!